This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone. So,
Good evening, sir.
good evening, everyone. So, in the last session, we were discussing about project preparation phase, and we finished discussing about project preparation phase. Today, we'll start discussing about BBP phase and probably realization as well. Okay. But before going to today's session, let me show you something. Two people got offer. Let me show you that message. And one very important thing also I would like to share today. That's very important for us. One moment. Okay, so this is one person. Just after yesterday's session, just we concluded somewhere around 9:05 session, 9:11. I got this email. You could see. So this guy got a job, right, in car technologies. Okay, so first of all, thanks to you. Your training and guidance helped me in interview process, right? I received offer from car. What is very important here is you see national skill registration. Okay, so what is this national skill registration? This is NASCAM portal. Okay, so companies will ask you to register in the NASCAM portal so that once you register, you are registered for lifetime and any company can access your data. So tomorrow, if you're going for any company, so they can access your data. They don't need to even do the background verification. They can just go to the portal and they can see. And while registering, you need to enter your all education details and everything. Okay. So did I mention anyone is MBA or did I mention to anyone that you can remove MBA and make 4 years if you don't have enough of 4 years? Did I mention like that to anyone? If you are
No,
MBA,
Praveen. No,
not
Praveen,
to
but I am
anyone.
from.
Okay. Okay. You can be anyone actually, not only in MBA. Why I'm asking this is, see, what happens is, so someone comes to me saying that, Praveen, I'm done MBA, but my passed out is in 2020. Okay. So when your passed out is in 2020 MBA, you cannot show 4 years, right? Obviously, you will be having only 2 years, but you should go with minimum 4 years. So for that, what I tell everyone, that means anyone come with this kind of scenario, I tell them that remove this because MBA you really don't need, right? 2 years. So that now you can add another 2 years here. So that after your graduation, it's making up 4 years, right? I tell this to anyone if someone comes with this scenario. But while you register in NASCAM, you have to register with your MBA. You cannot ignore this because as I told you, once you register, you cannot change it and that data will be for lifetime. Okay, so that's what this guy was asking before joining process. They asked me to register in NASCAM. Any company giving offer and asking you to register in NASCAM, reject that offer. Don't register in NASCAM. Okay, I'll just show you one moment how it looks like in the portal. I'll just show you. So don't register in NASCAM. So this is how the the portal would be. This is one way of background verification, and you could also see here. Let us work together to strengthen the background verification process. So this portal will hold all the data. Every company don't ask, but few companies just ask it. But it is actually your right to register or not in this. That is up to you. But you know, right? If you say no, then again they doubt. So if any company giving you an offer, doesn't matter how fancy the package is, but if they're asking to register in NASCAM, just reject that offer. Don't register in NASCAM until you get into the job and work for 1 or 2 years. Don't register in NASCAM. Okay, so that's what he got an offer, but this is what the issue, right? This is one very good point we should know actually. Okay, and one another guy got offer in TCS. Let me also show you that. Couple of offers are also expected in this week actually, because in the last week many interviews happened and almost everyone made it very good and they're expecting offers. So yeah, Just in the afternoon, I received this message. So today I received offer letter from TCS, and yeah, you could see this is the offer letter. So two people got placed today. Couple of more people would be, but they share the message little late, right? So I hope you are confident enough. You'll get a job. Don't worry about the job. The least you need to worry in this training is to get a job. The least, because you enroll to this training, you get a job. Okay. Only thing you need to focus is learning on the concepts. Just focus on the subject. Job is not that tough for us. You'll get a couple of offers, right? And do you think these guys are like a super something like they're extraordinary? No. Only time matters. They joined training some 4 months back or 6 months back, and today they are in offer industry. You join today, maybe in the next 4 months, 6 months, you will be in the industry. And at that time, your message I'll be just showing to the batch people. This is the same thing with what will happen, right? So it's only time matter. You join today, so count 4 months from today, right? Yeah, so let's go ahead. And one more thing is, I could see someone with name admin and waiting for name. Please put your name. If not, you'll be exited from the training. Please mention your name. If you ask a question, I need to know who you are, or I need to know, right? So I could see one is admin, and I could see two other people with waiting for name. Please put your name. Okay, change it, your name. I'm exiting you. Please join again with your names. Yeah. So let's go ahead with today's session. Yesterday we were discussing about. So any question? Still you have any doubt whether you'll get a job or not? Anyone? Still any doubt or any question in your mind whether you'll get a job or not?
No, as long as you are there, I think I don't think there will need to be worried.
Sir, can you repeat
So
gap?
I'll repeat. Okay. So don't worry
Sir,
about the
can you
job.
repeat
Job
gap analysis?
definitely I'll do that. Okay. So job is the most easiest part in this training. So don't worry about the job, anyone. Focus on learning. Give more time in concentrating on the subject. Experience and everything you can buy with the money. So don't worry about that. Okay, gap is which is not possible in the SAP system because one SAP system cannot give solution for every industry, every scenario. So it's not possible. SAP can give solution for every business, every customer, 100%, right? So whatever is not possible in the standard system, we call it as gap. And when it's a gap, then I told you, right, follow the Sven method and try to achieve the gap, fulfill the gap. Okay. For that, today we'll discuss that. What happens when you find a gap, what to do? What is gap analysis, fit gap analysis? What is functional mandates, technical mandates, budget? We'll discuss today. Okay. So once project preparation is done and uh, project preparation is done and your kickoff meeting is done and you're tagged to the project, and if you are the person identified for on-site, then you go on-site to the client place and you start gathering the requirements. So BBP phase happens only on-site. Customer will not come to your place. You have to go to the client place, sit there and gather the requirements. Okay. A vice president cannot come and sit your place for the next 6 months or 3 months, right? So as a consultants, we go to the on-site and sit with the customers and gather the requirements. So what is the main objective of this particular phase? That is, the purpose of this phase is to achieve a common understanding of the how company intends to run the SAP. Okay, to support their business, how the company intends to run their business, the application, right? That is to achieve the common understanding. That means understanding client's requirement, why they want to use SAP and for what purpose and what all they need in the SAP system. So that's what we are going to understand in this phase. It starts with core scope document. As I told you yesterday as well, scope can make or break the project. It is that important. Scope document. So what is scope document? It consists of questionnaires. Doesn't matter how senior consultant you are, it will not be possible anyone to orally gather the requirements. Okay, how many questions we can ask, right? Not possible. So what happened? What is scope document? Scope documents is nothing but scope documents are nothing but questionnaire document which have all the possible questions what you need to ask the customer and gather the requirements, get the answers from the customer so that we know what exactly customer would be requiring, right? So if in interviews they ask you how do you got this scope document or how do you got this questionnaire document, usually your implementation partner itself will provide you the scope documents. If your implementation partner has not provided, then it is consultant responsible to get this one document. Okay. So in interviews, if they ask a question, how you gather the requirements, that is with QADB. We call it as questionnaire DB. It looks like this. It will have all the possible questions what we need to put to the customer to gather the requirements. So every concept, every field will be, you see, some answers will be yes or no, some will be a single line, one word, some needs a very detailed explanation. Some questions will be discussed later, that might be an integrations, right? So how do you ask, like gather requirement? This is how. Do you sell your products via number of distribution channels? Yes. Then what are those distribution channels? Direct, dealer, and through builders. Do these sales process require different master data? Yes or no? So this will give us a complete idea of what exactly client's requirement is, how sales is structured. So there are various sales office for creating the business. So yes or no kind of thing, or one word or one line, or lengthy discussions, right? So this is how the questions would be, and this is certain things will be discussed later because there might be integration or you need more approval for that, right? So this is called as questionnaire DB, and when we go answer, we carry this and we put these questions to the customer and we take the answers. That will give us an idea to prepare the BBP document. Whatever we're discussing today is completely absolute in S4HANA. We don't follow this process in S4HANA. We don't prepare a BBP in S4HANA. We prepare BRD in S4HANA, Business Requirement Document. And the process is completely different, what we are discussing today in the ECC and what's happening in the S4HANA. The process is completely different. Right. So this is the first document, scope document. We gather the requirements. Once you have the requirement, you know what to do. So then you could start creating a BBP document. This works on on-site offshore model. So one consultant would be on-site every module and they will pass on the requirements to the offshore team so that they could prepare the documents. So BBP document will have as is and to be. The contents of the BBP document is as is to be. There will not be multiple documents like as is document, to be document, BBP document. You don't have this many documents. There is only one document called as BBP document, and the contents of the BBP document is as is and to be. Very important entry question: what documents you prepared in BBP phase? So as is means understanding the current business of the customer, how they are running. As is, you can put it as it is. As it is, and now how customer is running their business without SAP. And once SAP is implemented, how this process is going to be in SAP, that is going to be in SAP, right? When you're doing this as is to be, you may not find some solution. Then we call it as gap. Then we do gap analysis. Then you take sign off, right? So without sign off, we are not supposed to move to the next phase, as you know that, right? So that is BBP. Let's move on and discuss in detail what happens in the BBP phase. Yeah, so this is again a very important interview question. That is what you have done on your first day of your implementation project. I hope this question was also asked for one person in very recent interview. They asked this question: what you have done on your first day of your project? Okay, so if you know, you know it. You don't know, you will answer something wrong definitely, right? So usually we don't do anything on the day one because you might be traveling, you might be having jet lag, it might be a time difference, right? You don't start working from the day one itself. I'm talking if you go abroad, okay? So day one will be usually meet and greet, maybe some team lunch, and they will just take you around the plant and show you what materials they manufacture, what is the process, any latest machinery, where is the server room. So they just take you and give you an overview. They make you people you meet from tomorrow where you have to meet and sit, where is the conference room, where is the pantry. So these all things they will just make you understand around the plant, right? So day one, usually we don't do anything. It will be just only a plant visit or meet and greet kind of thing. Okay. So from day two, what we do? So for every module, they will be giving one room or a cabin because everyone cannot sit at one place and discuss these things. So SD separate, MM separate, FI separate, like this. Every module will have separate cabins and rooms. Then, if there will be also some collective activities, some group activities. All the group activities will be having workshops, and maybe you'll be meeting in conference rooms. If not, separate cabins or rooms will be provided for every module. So consultant, you and your core user will be sitting and discussing on the requirements, right? And this will be the process and activity for the next 3 to 6 months, depending upon the project tenure. Okay, depending on the project tenure, this will be taking for the next uh, uh, couple of months, right? So this is so what you do every and see, we already discussed, right? Core user BPO might be a very senior person, so he has already lots of things to do every day. He need to talk to customers. He need to talk to the vendors. Maybe you need to take meetings, right? And he reply to emails, phone calls. So he's already well occupied. So there would be some time, uh, like fixed to do this activity. But in return, what this core user will get? See, core user is spending a lot of time, right? For the next 6 months or some time, apart from his activity, whatever the job he has to do, he is spending a lot of time and energy for the next couple of months. So what is the benefit for core user? Usually, they give some good kickbacks to the core user. Once the project is success, they give a very good kickbacks to the core users, right? So that is the reason they actively participate in the project implementations. Okay, so yeah, then maybe first hour or last hour, anything post lunch, they fix some time, and at that time you go to the client place, you sit there, and every day you ask questions and you take the answers. What is very important? That is, you have to make a note whatever the core user explains as it is. You should not interpret it. You should not write it as you need, right? Because this is where the issues comes. Core user tomorrow may say that no, this is not what I mentioned. You have understood something else and you have written something else, right? But this is not my requirement. So there will be issues. So you should not interpret it. You need to take it as it is, what our core user is explaining, and this activity keep going on. But as I told you, we don't do this in the S4. S4 process is completely different. So then, like when you're doing as is and to be, as I told you, you'll be finding gaps. Okay. So first, let's talk about BBP document. There are a couple of BBP documents available with us. So this is a cement company BBP. This is a steel company BBP. There are a couple of more BBPs as well. I'll send you these documents once after this session you'll receive, and you'll have all these BBPs. So throughout the training, you can follow one BBP so that it will be a project experience from day one to day end. Because whatever we are discussing, it will be in the same sequence of the BBP, and you will be experiencing end-to-end project knowledge. So a BBP document will look like this. Okay, BBP doc, all the modules are mentioned here. Your name and your signature should be provided here. And this is a high-level BBP, right? The extract of this only SD module. This is only SD module BBP. This is only for the SD module, and you could see any gaps identified. You'll also be noting that gaps. And what are the gaps here identified? Customer advance payment in the form of deposits to be reflected in the invoice. Yeah, this is not standard in the system, and you could see customer advance payments in the form of deposits. It should show in the invoice. It is not standard in the SAP system. So now you need to address this. So these are a couple of BBPs, gaps which are identified and which has to be addressed. Okay. Okay. So how do your discussion happens to that? customers. So customer, let's say customer is telling that we are a retail business and our customers will walk into the store, take a shopping cart, go around the store, pick the materials, come to the billing counter, get it billed and pay for the items. They take the bill, they take the items and they leave the store. Okay. Did customer mention anything technical here? Anyone?
No. No.
No. What is, have you experienced this kind of process anytime? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, in supermarkets.
Yes,
Right?
Big Bazaar.
This is what we experience, right? You go to Big Bazaar, you go to Costco, you go to Walmart. This is what we do. We go to the store,
Sir,
we take
your
a
voice
shopping.
was not audible for me. Can you please repeat, sir?
So I'm just explaining one scenario of a business, what customer is explaining. Okay, if customer has explained this, first of all, see, SAP SD is not about, it's not all about learning only about SD module. You should also have some general knowledge. You should also have some business knowledge. Because see, who is a core user? Anyone? Who is a core user?
Customer.
Senior employee.
Senior
Right?
employee
Em-
from customer service.
right? Employee of the client, right? Employee of the client who provides you the requirements. And I told you he might be a 15 years experience or 25 years experience. He might be a general manager. Okay, let's say he's a general manager with 20 years of experience. Do this guy need to know SAP SD? Anyone? Do this person need to know SAP SD?
No.
No, sir.
No.
Not necessarily.
Right? Not, he don't need to know about SAP SD. You are a consultant with 4 years experience, SAP SD. Is this enough for you? Or do you need anything more? How do you communicate with this guy without any SAP SD knowledge? Because this guy having 20 years of experience and he talks very high level, right? As a consultant, it's not only SD. You cannot say that I'm a SAP SD consultant. I know what is there in SAP SD. Don't talk to me anything relevant, right? You cannot say that because if your customer is trying to explain you one scenario saying that, so let's take a very simple scenario, right? That is, if I'm trying to create an order for my government customer, that order should be mandatorily referred from a quotation. System should not allow to create an order independently. This is the scenario. So first you should understand the scenario. Forget about SAP. What's there in SAP, forget about. But you should understand the scenario, right? What first customer want, right? So you cannot expect your core user to be an SAP consultant or SAP knowledgeable person. Usually what happens is in the business, the clients send their core users also to training. I have done many trainings for core users. What companies think is if my team core users also have knowledge about SAP, the project would be more successful. So what the companies do is they send core users also to training. Okay. So the big challenge here is you need to be able to understand what your customer is trying to communicate with you, whether he's talking to you related to consignment process or whether he's talking to you relevant to maybe a credit management, how the credit management should be possible in the system, right? So it's not all about SAP SD. You should also have some general knowledge. When your customer is trying to communicate with you, you should be able to understand and convert that into a requirement, just like what I mentioned here, right? Once you're able to understand what customer need, then you can find out in SAP. Your experience, your knowledge will tell you what to do and where to do. So even in this scenario, did customer explain anything technical? Nothing, right? He was just mentioning their day-to-day activity, how their business perform. But you should understand what exactly this is. Once you know you are knowledgeable in SAP, then you know that, okay, this process in SAP is called as cash sales. This is enough. If you identify the process, that is enough. Rest, you know what to do. End to end, you will know what to do. Only the challenge is first you need to identify what process is this. Right? This process in SAP is called as cash sales, and it has all the configurations, everything available in the system. Maybe later, customer is explaining one more scenario. Customer is telling that, okay, this customer is Dell. Okay, or else, yeah, let's take it. Let's take it very simple scenario, not to confuse you. Okay, so the business says we don't manufacture anything. Okay, we don't manufacture anything. We are XYZ company. We don't manufacture anything, but we sell by taking the goods from vendors. Customers will place an order to us, then we take the goods from customers and we deliver it to the customer. What is this process? Did you experience this process?
Amazon,
Yes.
Flipkart.
Amazon, Flipkart.
Third
B2B.
party process or drop
Okay.
shipment. Okay, third party process or drop shipment. Or to put it very simple, trading business. Trading business. We don't manufacture anything, but we sell for some commission. Book My Show, Zomato, Uber, Amazon, right? They don't own any product, but they provide service and they charge some conveyance fees or some, right? So that's what the business model. So first you should be able to understand what customer business is, but in the real time, the processes will not be as simple as we are discussing. There will be very complicated processes as well. Okay, that is up to the business, right? But you should know the basic process first, right? At least basic process you should know. If customer is coming with their own unique process, that is up to the customer. And at that time, we'll have a different discussions with various departments and we can come to a solution. That is for sure. But at least you should understand the basic process first. So this process is called as drop shipment or third party process. What do Patanjali do? Do Patanjali manufacture every material they sell? Or Unilever? Or GSK? They don't do, right?
No, sir.
They don't do that, right? So these are like a third party trading business kind of thing. Okay, why businesses do this, that also we'll discuss later in detail. These are called as business processes. When it comes to that session, we'll discuss in detail, right? But this is how the discussions will happen in the project preparation phase, where in the BBP, that is in the BBP phase, where we talk to the customers, that is core users, and try to gather all the requirements from the customer. Okay, so as I told you, this would be like a on-site offshore model where we will be gathering the requirements and passing it to the offshore. So they will be preparing the documentation. But as I told you, while doing the as is to be, there will be gaps. As I told you, gaps could be as simple as like the address, so enhancing a field, to very complicated gaps as free goods or a number of orders or reports. There will be many gaps actually as per the business requirement. I just showed you something, right? The customer advance payments should show as a deposit. That is not standard in the business. Or else SAP system allows you to create invoice in future date and in past date. Is it legal? Can we create invoice in future dates and past dates? Is it legal? In any country, this is not legal. Okay? In any country, this is not legal. That means you know it. So we need to fix this. This is a very standard gap. Everyone knows that in an implementation project. So yeah, so this is a gap. We cannot even say gap. This is, I don't know why SAP has not filled it, but because in any country, it is not accepted, creating invoice in future date or past dates, right? So gaps could be anything which we could not achieve, right? So when a gap, then it's up to the business. If they want to really fill it, then we create a functional specification document. Functional specification document is a communication between functional consultants and technical consultant, because who need to develop it? Technical consultant. How do technical consultant know what to do? We need to give a logic to them. Okay, that's called as functional specification document. Okay, and we'll also, before writing the functional specification document, first is we give the estimation to the customer. What would the functional mandates, what would be the technical mandates, and what would be the budget to fill this gap? If customer is okay, then we start writing a functional specification document, and once it is approved, we send it to the technical consultant, and technical consultant will write a technical specification document and then go for the development, right? So if sometime, I told you one gap is there, you remember the quotation in free goods? Did I mention that yesterday? Free goods will not show in quotation,
Only 1+1 will.
right? Not 1+1. Free goods will not determine in quotation, right? That gap will take almost more than quarter budget of the project. Okay, time and budget, more than quarter budget of the project, that one gap will take, right? So is it worth now to go work to fill that gap, right? That is up to the customer, right? If they really need it and they can spend, they have time, then they can go it. At times what happens is we don't uh, we don't have time now, because our go live date is fixed and everything. So what we could do is this, we can postpone for the support project. The support project, we can handle this at that time. Because first let's go live. We cannot extend the go live because every day it's a costing, right? First let's go live, start using the system, and later also we could address this. So it's up to the customer whether they want to uh, address this gap now, or they want to do it later, and what's the budget and everything, any alternative solution. Because I'll tell you one more thing. See, I'll tell you one more issue. Actually, in SAP system, free goods has tons of gaps. I don't know, I mentioned this in the previous batches or not, but I'll tell you one more gap. For every X metal 100 quantity, X metal 20 quantity is free. Okay. Customer ordered 100 quantity. Customer ordered X metal 100 quantity, so customer got X metal 20 quantity free. But for some reason, customer don't want 50 material, and customer is returning back 50 material. What do they mean? Do customer need to return
Sir.
anything in the free goods?
Yeah, sir.
Do customer need to return anything in free goods?
No.
Has to be, right?
All of 20
It has to be,
required.
because if it is 120, 50, customer might, let's assume that, or else let's put this way. Customer is returning all the 100 back. Customer has placed order for 100 quantity and customer don't want that, so he's returning back. What do it mean? Do customer need to also return the free goods?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you must.
Yes, sir.
Right? Must, right? They have to return this material as
Yeah.
well. But when you create a return order in SAP, system will not show this. System will not show this. System will only show this. Okay, but this happened in India for MI TVs. You can Google it. You know MI company, right? The Xiaomi. This same situation happened with them
Yes.
in India. You know it, right? You can
No,
Google
no,
it.
sir. We are not aware.
Okay, you can Google it. You'll know it. With the MI, this happened in India, and they lost a big money actually. Okay, customers keep ordering the TVs and returning. They don't want it. They create a return order, but system is not creating return shipment. System is creating a return order, but system is not creating return shipment, so that TV is still with the customer. So they are placing an order, they're taking the TV and just returning. Only return order is created, and but still the TV is with them, right? So yeah, this will happen with MI. But here what happens is, maybe let me just check. You can Google it, will show. This happened. long back, I guess. I don't know whether it can see that or not. One guy explicitly has taken this advantage and he has done continuously this thing actually. Okay, maybe I don't know how to search that now, but yeah. So this happened. Okay, so now what happens in SAP system, if a customer order for 100 quantity and customer don't want it and customer return it, system will create only 100. That means customers can keep on ordering for 100 and they can keep the free goods with them,
This
right?
happens because of the gap in the SAP, sir.
Yes, yes. There is no functionality available to copy this into the returns. Now, how to achieve this? If you are going for development, it will cost a lot because you need to change lots of copy controls and other things. So we have proposed a very simple solution. Usually what happens is return orders we create with original invoices. Okay, return order, we create it with original invoices. Because in original invoice, what happens is system will not show free goods. Free goods will be showed only in order. It will not show in, even though free goods is available, it will not show in invoice. As it is not there in invoice, you create return order, then system will show only the main item expendable 100 quantity, but system will not show the sub items. That means the free goods. So now, if you want to fill this gap, it costs a lot. We have given a very simple solution to the customer. Don't create return order with original invoice. Create it with original order. Do we have free goods in original order? So when you create return order with original order, system is also copying free goods. Such a simple advice, free of cost, right? If you want to go with development, it used to be costing very lot actually, right? So this is how the gap sometimes can be filled with such a simple workaround. This is called as workaround. Okay, standard not possible. So when we have done workaround, we could achieve this. So we have done a solution with workaround. If it's not even possible with workaround, then we will go for enhancement. Okay, so yeah, so once we find the gap, we try to fill the gap. For that, we do a fit gap analysis and we give the customer the time, budget, and everything. And if customer is okay, then we just go ahead with it. So this whole process will take the duration of 3 to 6 months, depending upon the project magnitude. So very important is we need to take a sign off. Once we are done with the BBP document, we send that to the customer, and the customer need to sign off and send it back. Without sign off, we are not supposed to take into the next project. We will take couple of sign-offs in the project. This is also very important question in the interview. How many sign-offs you have taken in the project? Okay, so we'll take 2 actually. There will be various sign-offs, but as a consultant, we take 2 sign-offs. This is the 1 sign-off, BBP sign-off. And what documents we prepare in the BBP phase? BBP document and gap document, right? So this is all about the BBP phase. Okay, this is what the activity we do in the BBP phase, and the outcome of this phase is a BBP document is ready. That means we documented all the customer's requirement. We have not put that into the system yet, but on a paper, on a document, we have put all the customer requirements, and customer can go through this, and customer can know what are they are getting in the SAP system, and we ask for a sign off. And once the sign off is done, then we move on to the next phase called as realization phase. This is where actually the configurations will start. That this will discuss tomorrow. We'll stop it here today and discuss that tomorrow. So some interviews they may ask this question like, did you face any problems in BBP phase? There will be various problems in the BBP phase. Very rarely are they ask this question, but if they ask a question like, did you face any issue? Yes, but you cannot tell like a simple, like basic issue. They have not served me lunch, or they have not provided me cab. That is also issue, you know. When you are on site, you cannot eat noodles for like 6 months, right? If you're in a Korean project or some Chinese project, you cannot eat noodles every day for next 6 months. That is also a problem. But these problems can be solved by directly talking to the project manager. You cannot tell to the core user, right? So because cab is a issue. Your office is completed by 5 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock. Okay, but your cab doesn't come even at 7 o'clock. Okay, countries like Africa, you cannot go with the public transport because I've been there. I've been in Tanzania. You cannot go in public transport there, right? So company obviously provides you a cab. So you when they work a little very early. Their office starts by 7:30 and they finish it by 5 o'clock. So offices will be completed by 5 o'clock, but you don't see cab until 7 o'clock, right? So, but again, and tomorrow morning again, you need to start very early. So this is also issues actually. So you can communicate that to your project manager. So they will talk to their project manager and get that thing settled. But what problems they are expecting here, that is how you are gelling in the project. Because see, you are talking to some 50 years old person, a general manager with some 20 years or 25 years of experience. And he is a maybe like a South India sales head or country head or vice president sales kind of person, right? And they might be handling some 1,000 people. How like ego or arrogant those kind of people would be, right? And you are a consultant, and when you are giving suggestions to them, just imagine how it would be. So there will be definitely there will be a lot of ego issues. Okay, but that cannot be counted here. What they first checking is they want to just only check your personality, how you can settle the things. So what issues usually you will face is the first issue is language. Language will be the first issue when you you go to Japan, you go to Korea, or you go to like say African countries. Language is the first issue. Even country heads don't speak in English; they speak their own native language. Okay, so that's the one big issue what you'll be facing. You'll have translators obviously. And one more thing, let me tell you. By any chance, if you want to get any additional skill set, learn Japanese language. If you want to add something to your profile, some certification or additional anything, you can consider learning Japanese language. Japan has a very good practice of SAP. Japan or Germany, these two, that you can learn any of these two languages. They have very good practice and they work in their own local language. Their SAP systems are also in the local systems. They prefer with the person with local language rather than translators. So if you want to add anything new to your, that means any additional thing to your profile, you can learn considering this Japanese language, right? So this is for today. Any questions, please go ahead. Tomorrow we'll go with realization phase where we start doing the configurations.
Hello.
You said
Hi,
we
Mandar here.
got till the third phase with 4
Yeah,
years of
go.
experience. We will only
Yeah.
start from realization phase. So if
Mm.
there are any questions from BBP in the interview, so are we
No,
supposed to?
no, any consultant, 4 plus. Today you are 4
Yeah.
plus, right? Your activity will be from BBP. But today it's
Okay.
not possible. Okay. As I told you, there are no implementations since 2017. So you cannot
Yes.
put ECC BBP. That's the reason we'll put S4 HANA migration. I told you that is the reason I told you if you are going with SD training, you should go mandatorily with S4 HANA. If
Yes.
not, the things will get little tough to handle actually. Okay, you will put S4 HANA migration project, not ECC implementation.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Any questions?
Ravi, sir,
Go ahead.
I, uh, I have received the links of those videos for the
Mhm.
SD, but ACC, but I have not received the video links for those S4 HANA.
I'll share it. S4
That's
HANA and documents, I'll send it now. Okay.
okay.
And I hope you
Thanks.
have noticed it. I was also telling in the first session or second session, right? And someone was insisting for video immediately after the class. I told you, right? Even though I
Hmm.
upload, it will not play. It will take enough time because my activity is only to upload into the G drive. After uploading, nothing I can do. It will take its own course of time to convert and play it. So videos, you can consider it as 24 hours because I tried to
Okay.
upload today, not playing. So put it as 24. But it will be uploaded by 11 a.m. every day. Today's class will be uploaded tomorrow at 11 a.m. But you need to wait it
Actually,
to play, get it played.
actually, I missed the Sunday's half class, first half. So I just want to revise those before I attend this
I'll share
week's.
it. As
So
for
that's
now, I'll
the
share.
concern. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi, hi Mandar here. Please add me to the list for documents and videos as well.
I'll share it, Mandar.
Thank- Thanks. Thank you.
Praveen, can you please just the scope document and as is, if you can
Hmm.
just repeat it once.
The scope is a questionnaire document. Scope document is nothing but the questionnaire BBP document. This is called a scope because it will have all the questions which is possible. Okay? And we put these questions to the customer and we get the answers from the customer for all these questions. This is scope document. As is means what is customer business today without SAP. Okay. Basing on that, we give a solution and that is to be. To be is what's how this process customer can address it in SAP. That is to be. Okay. Is it clear? Any question?
Is the scope standard for everyone?
No, it is different. If some business is, if some implementation partner is like more into only pharma implementations, pharma process is different from cement industry process, right? The questions will change. Scope is not same for every industry. It will change as per the business process. But the standards
But
will be there. SAP standards is applicable to all the business. That will be there.
So the questions in the scope document and the questions while as is, which will be overlapping, no?
No, no. As is not a question. As is already we have taken the requirements. We know what customer want. Basing on that, we prepare as is, telling this is what customer is doing today. And in 2B, we tell like what to do in the SAP system. If you can read this, see out of the, we have gathered all the requirements from the customer with a questionnaire. We have put questions, we got the answer. Basing on that understanding, we know what customer is doing at today. First, we write it in the as is, saying that this process occurs when the customer is ready to take the product by paying the required amount immediately, right? But here you see, we write only what's there in SAP. In SAP standard system, this is called as cash sales. There is a document CS, an automatic delivery happen in the back end, and a bill will be printed. This is how we write it. Any SAP consultant, any experience can easily understand if you read this 2B, right? But as is will be interpreted by the on-site person, okay, who gather the requirements. Scope document is only questions to first understand what exactly client requirement. Then, basing on that knowledge, we prepare as is and to be. Okay. So as is not questions. It explains what customer is doing without SAP today, how they are running the processes today without SAP system. Yeah. Any questions? Please
And
go ahead.
Thank you.
as when we prepare as is with the help of a scope document, we have
Yeah.
to take approval for that as is document before preparing to be document.
No, no. There will not be any approval. See, this particular scope document has various questions, right? These
Hmm.
questions will summarize and prepare as is to be. Okay. These questions will summarize it. Let's say customer has what distribution channel. Okay, let me open questionnaire document. So each and every question will not have a as is to be. We'll summarize them. Let's say, do you use down payments? Yes or no? Yes. Customer say yes, right? If your customer said down payment, then milestone billing allows you to bill once a certain work level has been completed. Do you use milestone billing or not? Yes. Okay. Once customer answered for these questions, milestone billing, periodic billing, down payments, it just looks like 3 questions, but that is called combination of down payments and billing plan types in the SAP system. So once a customer like answers for this question, what we do, we can tell in the BBP saying that customer has different billing plan types, that is periodic billing or milestone billing. On the as is we'll write it. As is we'll write it as customer has this particular billing plan types. Is it? Yeah, this one. Yeah. So here we'll write example, make to order type documents. So one thing is clear that customer has down payments, periodic billings, and milestone billing. That is clear, right? Once we have this particular idea about customers having all these things, then in the as is we'll write it as, so customer would be requirement, when it comes to the billing, we'll write it as customer's requirement is to have down payments and billing plan types. In the 2B, we'll write it as, so where can we achieve this? We can achieve this here in the document. That's in the system I'll just show you. Okay, billing plan types. Here we can activate periodic billings or milestone billings, right? So first thing is identifying the customer requirement. So each question is not a as is or each question is not a to be. We'll summarize all these things and put it as one requirement, and we'll try to achieve that. Because billing cannot, let's say billing, it cannot function independently, right? Billing has to be under some process. It could be under third-party process. Let's say you order on Amazon. Can you pay it in 2 installments or 3 installments? Is it possible? Not possible, right? Or you take a personal loan. Can you pay it in once? Not possible. You need to pay only in EMIs, right? So it varies with the process. One, depending on the process, how the customer's requirement is. So we'll summarize all these questions. It's not just for every question we'll address it. Okay. Any questions?
Can you
During
know?
creating as is a document, so the core team will be present, or is a consultant will be just using the scope document to prepare it?
Only consultant's activity. The core user activity is done with providing these particular requirements, because only after BBP we'll send it for approval and then only they could go through the document. Okay. Only in the requirement gathering they will be having activity. Actually, this happens parallelly. It's not that first we take the requirement, then we spend again 2 months or 3 months. On-site offshore model, whatever the requirements you gathered today, that requirements you'll be passed on and you'll be preparing that parallelly. By end of this phase, the document should be ready. So every day this is an activity. You gather the requirements, you summarize it, you prepare as is and to be. But we don't give the document to the customer on daily basis. We'll once finish all the as is to be, and then only we give a final BBP to customer. Because what happens is every day you give it, every day there will be change. It will become an never-ending project. Yeah. So any questions? So these templates will be provided by your implementation partner. Or else you can also download from SAP. SAP also has them. Or else your implementation partners will provide this. So we'll conclude today and we'll catch up tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll continue with the realization phase. Right.
Okay,
So
well,
document and the S4HANA videos, I'll just send it now in the next half an hour. So
yeah.
good everyone and catch up tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.